Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday and welcome to Bankroll Your Brilliance Thursdays, my weekly time with you here at Black Doctor to pour into you everything you need to get paid for what you know. So there's three areas we cover here on our Thursday chats with you. First of all, I'm Nicole Roberts-Jones, the Bankroll Your Brilliance expert, if you've never met me. So one, come on in, tell me hello. My grandmother used to say, don't come in this house and not speak. So hello. Say hello, tell me where you're from. Number two, there are three areas we cover every week as we come to you. One area is what is your brilliance? What's your purpose? What's the dominion that God created you to dwell in this thing called life? The second area is the value tied to it. Some people don't realize the value they have. Some people are overstepping their value. Oh, that's a whole conversation in and of itself. And then the third is bankrolling it. How do you create multiple streams of revenue from it? So today I'm super excited that we are going to go into area number one. But before I do that, let me do a little check-in. I see no one said hello yet. I want to see where you're from. I'm pulling it up over here because sometimes the comments don't come up live. And I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody's comments. So say hello, tell us where you're from. Now listen, as I bring up this expert, and if you have questions, I want you to ask them live. If she steps on your toes, throw some fire emojis in the chat, right? Or give her some waves, some hand waves, right? If she says something that resonates with you, give her some hearts. We want to hear from you, whether it's you posting comments or sending emojis. We want you to be active in our conversation. Hey, Deetra in Minneapolis, welcome, welcome. So with that, let me introduce our phenomenal expert of the hour. Her name is Dr. Vikki Johnson. Now, Dr. Vikki is a transformational speaker. She's a chaplain. She's a spiritual wellness practitioner. She's a best-selling author of not one, not two, but 12 books. Hello, right? And she's a founder of Soul Wealth. Now, listen, through her Soul Wealth Academy, she guides women to manifest abundance in every area of their life, build their own tribes, grow their own businesses or careers, and create the life they truly desire. She believes that in every moment we live at choice. Now, if that wasn't enough, she is also mentors women to break up with the status quo in their lives, to be great in the mirror first, then amazing in the marketplace. She also hosts her daily podcast, the Soul Wealth Radio Show, in her mission in all things and passion to strengthen relationships among women by sharing life strategies for next level results. So y'all help me welcome Dr. Vikki Johnson. Hey girl.
Hello, Nicole.
So,
How are
so
you?
excited. I'm good. Look, I'm better now. Listen, I'll try to contain my excitement because Dr. Vicki is one of my favorite people on the planet. So if you don't have a pen and you don't realize that I bring you these firecracker women that are going to give you some nuggets, you better grab one. So let me just first say hi, Michael. And yes, even though the majority of the people I bring on, we talk to women, there are always a few good men that are welcome. So Michael, thank you for being here. And Leroy, we are excited. Y'all are here. Jackie, welcome from Virginia. So with that said, let's go in, Dr. Vicki. So tell us, what is Soul Wealth?
Soul Wealth thank you, first of all, Nicole, for this invitation. You know, I love being in space with you. It just becomes sacred immediately. So
Mm,
thank you for this
mm,
opportunity. Soul Wealth is a way of being. It is a lifestyle. It is the result of a TED Talk that I did
mm,
in December of 2014 on the power of sacred sisterhood. When women come together, when we connect with each other, when we collaborate, when we create community, the result is soul wealth. The download came to me literally just like that. Then I
mm.
was directed and inspired to go to 3rd John in scripture that says God desires that we prosper and be in health even as our souls prosper,
Ooh, I would get chills
which
as you say
which
that. That's so good.
means that our life can only be as healthy and abundant and overflowing as our emotions, because our soul is the container of our
Mm,
emotions, and hence soul wealth was born. And
mm,
it has just started taking on many iterations. I have a tribe. It's the title of my latest book, Soul Wealth: Finding Vision, Compassion, Authenticity, Abundance, and Legacy in the midst of chaos, which
yeah.
God anointed me to write and release 4 months before the pandemic. Only
Right,
God could do that.
right.
I have a daily podcast, the Soul Wealth Radio Show. I have t-shirts and soy candles and scented shea butter and room sprays. So Soul Wealth is a way of being. It is a
Right.
lifestyle. And my
Yes.
mandate is to flood the earth with soul wealth,
Ooh.
is to help women, especially, and men who are connected to us to be and live in energetic, emotional alignment. Because when you're out of alignment, you can
Mhm.
function, but it's just so much better to function in alignment because you have ease and flow. And
Ooh,
that is
that's
what
good.
soul wealth is to nudge, provoke,
Mhm.
gently encourage other women to live in ease and flow.
So good. As you were talking, two things came. The first one is being out of alignment. How many of you guys have been in a car and it's time to go get your wheels aligned and you rolling like this to the side, like your car is rolling to the side and you wonder what's wrong, right? And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter how old your car is. Your car could be brand new, but you keep hitting curbs. But that's the same thing that happens in our lives. And sometimes you walking sideways and you've been doing it for so long, you've learned to just tilt your head sideways because you're walking
Yep.
sideways when
Yep.
life and living life could be so much better if you got aligned.
Yes.
And so, in addition to that, because I'm going to ask you a question about that, but before I go there, I always say this to my clients, like, they call us human beings, but we're not. We're human doings because we
Mm.
focus so much on do, on do, on do, on do that we don't stop and sit in our being. And Vicki and I are like two ends of the spectrum. So what's interesting is when I'm working with a woman to start a business, it's her being that's in the way, not her doing. And what I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that, and I'm gonna ask her a question, and I want y'all to get this, because we, especially we as people of color, have learned, I call it slave mentality, to keep it pushing, right? That we got to be strong. No, 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 no. Your strength is better when you heal and allow those things that have stopped you to be healed, right? And so tell the listeners, when you're out of that alignment, it's like, what are some of the I don't want to say symptoms, but how are some of the ways that that it's time to get your soul wealth and get your soul in alignment?
Complacency,
Mm,
procrastination, anxiety, excuses, um, fatigue,
yeah, yeah.
depression. Watch this: jealousy,
Ooh, that's a good one right
covetousness.
there. Hmm.
Because what happens frequently, and I've had to work through this on my own, other
Hmm.
people's happiness can anger us, not because
Mm,
we're not really happy for them, but their happiness and their joy magnifies my dissatisfaction
ooh,
with life. So I choose not to celebrate others. I choose not to be around people who are joyful, and that's where we get to misery loves company, right? The pity
mm,
party that other people decide to join, because it's easy to do that, Nicole. It's
yeah, yeah.
easy to stay in misery and plant your
Mhm.
stake there and anchor there. And so in order to really go after or attract, is even better, a place of joy, a place of happiness, we now have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Ooh,
And the pandemic cast us all into that same space. It's like,
mhm,
what am I going to do now? Who am I? What am I really here to do? Because
right.
for me, the pandemic really magnified and clarified what I am to be intentional about
Yeah.
in my life. And that is the opportunity to create a life of
Mhm.
intention.
That's good. I often say last year, before we knew the pandemic was coming, we called 2020 2020 vision, right? Y'all remember
Yeah.
that? The beginning of
Yep.
last year, we kept saying
Yep.
2020 vision. And here's the thing, I believe 2020 was still a year of vision, and some of y'all got blurry vision because you let the
Mm.
pandemic throw you off instead of saying, what's the thing that I'm supposed to learn here? I feel like God was intentional. And I'm not saying with all the people that passed, and I'm not saying any of that. Anybody that's dealt with any deaths or loss, I feel for you around that. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is for each of us around this area of soul wealth, it gave us time, whether it was you working from home now, you can create your own schedule. Whether I know for me, there were some things I wanted to do in my business. And because I travel so much, and I'm not complaining, I love traveling, right? And I'm, as a speaker working at events, but because I had all these online ideas and I couldn't get them done because I was always traveling. So for me, I got to do all this online stuff I've been wanting to do. I was so excited. So I love that you said that. It's really looking at all the things that are keeping you from all that's possible for you. And so I want you to take a minute, ladies, and the few good men that are with us. because you have this expert, if there's something in your way and you have a question, if there's something you've been trying to battle, and part of it is, don't try to act like you're perfect, because if you were perfect, you'd be sitting next to Jesus. You wouldn't be here. Okay. So nobody's perfect, right? The minute I'm perfect, I'll be able to fit in all my clothes in my closet because I got the Corona extra on me too. Hello, I can go on and on, right? The minute I'm perfect, I will not look at somebody else and go, "Dang, how come?" And then I have to pull my own self back, and I do that by sitting in my being because I have jealous moments too. Come on, right? So I really want you to ask the question because this could hinder you. This could really keep you from being, and I'm looking at my questions, by the way, if you see me looking down, this could keep you from being all that God meant for you to do or be, and really to live into that abundance that is your birthright. I believe soul wealth is tied to abundance, right?
Yes.
So how can other people really practice soul wealth? And as she says these, right? Because she getting ready to drop some nuggets, I already know. And she's probably already dropped some, and y'all are like so like in awe that you don't even know what question to ask. If there's one of these areas that she says that you have an issue with, you don't know how to do, you have a question about, type it in the chat because I really want you to be able to move this insight forward. So with that, take it away, Dr.
So
Vikki.
there are 5 tenets of soul wealth, and that's what I'll share because that is how I live, move, and have my being. Literally,
Mhm.
the first is vision. What is your vision? If you don't have one, the Bible says you're going to perish. The
Mm.
principle of life with no vision is that you'll be manifesting someone else's vision.
Woo!
And that is the power of being connected. And that is my blessing of you, Nicole, is that you
Mm.
constantly challenge me. You constantly turn the mirror around and you constantly make me go within to
Mm.
reflect and really clarify my vision. Is that what I want to do? Do I no longer need to do that? Make space and do something else. So you have to have a vision. You have to
Mm.
have a blueprint. The blueprint becomes the plan, how
Yeah.
you move forward. So get a vision, be around other visionaries. The
Mhm.
internet has eliminated all excuses. If you don't know any visionaries, look them up on YouTube, look them up. They're all around. So you
Mhm.
want to have a vision. The second is you
Hey,
must
before you go into
practice.
second, right? Before you go into second, by the way, this is why I think vision boards got so big a couple years ago. So my
Yeah,
question to you is: you've got to have the vision. I hope this is not your number two. If it is, just tell me to hush. You've got to have a vision, but you've got to write it out so you
you
can
do have
see
to
it.
write it.
So my vision board is literally right there. You can't see where I'm pointing, but it's right there, right? Because
Yes.
that's where I walk into my office. Every time I walk in and out of my office, I have to walk past my vision. So I'm reminded of who, look, in my vision board, I made my vision board about 10 years ago, but I add to it. And I do that because I want to be reminded of what I've already done and what I have yet to do. So it's so important because your vision does push you. And I love that you said get around people that can help you with your vision, right? You got to have vision partners. I'm telling you, because listen, when I first started my business, I've been doing this for 28 years, even though I'm 29, right? So I've been doing this for 28 years. So when I first started, I had no girlfriends. First of all, let me back up. I didn't know what this thing was called that I do. It's called coaching. We know that now. But in 1993, there was no such thing as a coach. At least I hadn't heard of it, right? So number one, I couldn't explain it. Number two, all my friends, none of my friends were entrepreneurs. So I couldn't ask anybody for help. It took me way too long to figure it out because I had to do it in the dark.
Mm.
So I really want you to understand, and I didn't write my vision. I'm going to be honest. It took me 17 years to get a doggone clue because I didn't write it. I didn't really start seeking help. I just kept going to the library thinking I should be able to figure it out. No, you need vision casters. You need vision, like help, right? Vision team. You need people around you that can help you move your vision forward. So sorry, I just had to share that. Go ahead,
No
girl.
problem. And I just want to add to that. Some people
Mhm.
are like, well, I don't know. I challenge you to say you do know. I challenge you to get still, right? Here's
Yeah.
my second point. Practice compassion for yourself
Mhm.
first. For yourself first. That is the ever popular now terms of self-care and self-love. That is also compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
Included in compassion is being still, moments of solitude, so that you can hear, so that you can remember. You're not seeking who you're to become.
Right.
Stillness allows you to remember who you already are. We
Mm.
came here, we were born with everything we need to be what we were born to be. It's in us. So
Yep.
stillness activates our self-compassion. What that does, and this is tied to vision, is it stirs your imagination. This is why
Mm.
mindfulness is so important. The images in your mind. I like to say, I heard this some years ago, if it's in your mind, it's in your future. Where did that
Mm.
thought come from? God put it there. So
Yeah.
when you're in stillness, that is the practice, whether it's prayer, whether it's meditation, whether it is moving meditation where you're just walking,
Mm.
or just sitting in silence a little bit every day. That too is self care and self compassion.
So I
You're
want to put this question
remembering.
up. So I want to put this question because I think you're answering her question. It may be deeper than that, but it's I think Latrice, and thank you, Latrice, for asking the question. I'm in my own way. I like energy, support, and motivation. How can I overcome procrastination and perfectionism?
I am going to say first, acknowledging it is so important, but I want to give you a real practical answer is to move. Move your
Mm.
body. Get outside if you're able to. I don't want to make that assumption, but if you're able
Yeah.
to get outside. I started hiking at the beginning of the pandemic. I hike now about 10 miles a week.
And
I
by the
was
way, if
not
you
a
guys
hiker.
follow her, look, if you follow her on social media, you see all the beautiful pictures from her hikes. So sorry, go ahead.
Yes, I started hiking and I did that because I needed a way to decompress. I was
Hmm.
very strict and still am with safety protocols in terms of social distancing and staying in the house and all of that. And I needed an outlet.
Yeah.
I needed an outlet. So I want to offer to you, Latrice, get outside in nature. I cannot explain what it is that happens, but something happens. I offer to you, and I just kind of
Mhm.
perceive and discern that your vision is bottled up inside of you. And it's
Mm.
just kind of almost like you're constipated.
Yeah. Ooh, come on, let's keep it real. Right.
Your
Mhm.
vision is constipated. And so what do you have to do? You have to get it moving again
Yes.
and get it moving out of you and then through you
Mhm.
into the world. So if you get outside, even if you're just walking for start at 10 minutes a day if you can't do
Mhm.
30. If you can do 30, then your goal is to do 60. As you're moving, you're going to begin to decompress and make room. That's why I
Yeah.
said I just kind of perceive your vision is backed up. But as you
Mm.
move and as you release, now you're creating capacity for the instruction of how to get it out. And as you move, you also will begin to have more energy. The
Mhm.
reason you're exhausted is because the energy that you're stuffing and suffocating is overtaking you physically and making you tired and fatigued.
That's
So
good.
one of my good friends, Dr. Loretta Halstead, said, if you don't execute your vision, it will kill you.
Ooh. And literally, this is I think is in alignment with the compassion conversation you were having because you have to have enough love for yourself to
Yes.
do what it takes to move
Yes.
that forward. I
Yes.
know before I met my husband, I went through a really, really, really bad breakup. I mean, public, humiliating because the person was a public figure. And I rolled on the floor crying for about 5 minutes. And then I said, hold on, wait a minute. If this man was supposed to be my blessing, that don't feel like no blessing. All of that mess. So I got outside and started walking. That's exactly what I did. Every time I felt bad, I said, "Let me go outside," and I just walked it out. And it is. I will second what Dr. Vicki said. Now, I didn't realize that this happened until this moment, and this was like probably almost 20 years ago, maybe a little less than that. And literally every day, I just said, "I just got to get out of this house and walk." And I would
Yes.
put on like my favorite spiritual music or sometimes a sermon, and it'd be me and Jesus on that track. And I promise you, something about that time outside in nature. And I lived in the city. I still lived in LA, so it's not like I was on nature trails like Dr. Vicki. Okay, but just being outside in nature and being one with the air and the space and getting out of your environment just really shifts something
Something
inside.
shifts. Nature is medicine. Nature
Mm-hmm.
is medicine. I'm going to say that again. Nature is medicine. And most of the time, it's free. You could just
Hello.
get out and walk and walk. And as you're walking, you'll begin to get downloads. Frequently, the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity really is for us to hear what we can't hear when we're inside or when we're around other people who are limited in their execution of their vision as we are. And so we can't hear the instruction. We can't hear the
Mm,
voice of God. We can't be inspired to get the download for what we need to do next. So
right.
I just want to offer that very simple practical step is get
Mhm.
outside and move your body so the energy can move through you, and now you've created capacity to get that
Mhm.
download of what to do
Mhm.
next, one step at a time, one step
Mhm.
at a time.
And Kimberly says, feels so much clearer when I walk. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I see you have a question, Kimberly, but let me let you do Dr. Vicki do 3, 4, and 5, and then we'll do Kimberly's
Okay.
question.
So vision, compassion. As
Mhm.
you practice compassion for yourself, now you're stepping into number 3, which is your place of authenticity. As you begin
Mm,
to peel away who you're not, and who you really are starts to emerge. As you
yeah.
said, Nicole, it took you a long time for your authenticity or your authentic work and assignment
Hmm.
to emerge. But practicing compassion for self peels away all of the layers of what you no longer need, what's no longer
Yeah.
serving you. And so your authenticity unlocks
Ooh,
your abundance of joy, peace, love, not just materially, that comes. But I'm
yeah.
talking about intangible prosperity, is what I call it. Peace, love, joy, gentleness, meekness, self care, family. Your core
Right.
values begin to be streamlined. And as you're living in this abundance, you then attract who you are, what you
Mm,
become. We attract what we reflect. So as I
ooh,
am being authentic, I am then attracting authentic opportunities that unlock my abundance. My
mm,
relationship with Nicole Roberts Jones is a part of my abundance chest. It
right.
is, because whenever she shows up, when she reaches out to me, I am in abundance. She, for
Mm.
me, is an arrow of God. And I'm not just saying this because she's here. I say
Don't
this
make
to
me
her
cry with all this makeup on,
privately.
girl.
But, she for me is an
Mm,
arrow of God, that
mm,
I am in alignment with my assignment when Nicole
mm,
shows up in my life. And I've never said that to you before,
I
but
appreciate
but
you, girl.
that is my contemplation. Whenever you reach out to me, I'm like, okay, God, it's like God gets my attention through you,
Mm,
Nicole.
mm,
That's why
mm,
sometimes when you reach out to me, I don't respond, because I'm being stubborn, and it's between me and God. It's not even
right.
about you, but I know when you show up in my life, God is getting my attention to cause me to raise up, right? To
Mm,
ascend even higher, to stretch to this place of being uncomfortable. And
yeah.
here we are, right?
Yeah.
So abundance leads
Mm.
you to the 5th tenet of soul wealth, which is legacy.
Ooh,
Who are you? What are you creating? What will be the story that people have about you when you're no longer
right.
here?
Right.
And in this new dispensation, I want to call it, the opportunity is for us to experience our legacy while we're
Mm,
still
mm,
here. Not let me create all of this so that when I'm no longer here, people
right.
will say this about me. But the privilege and the opportunity is that we now get to live in and
Hmm.
enjoy our legacy as we are
That's so
creating it.
good.
So it's
That's so
vision,
good.
compassion, authenticity, abundance, and legacy. Those are the 5 tenets of
That's so
soul
good. Look,
wealth.
look, I'm putting this question up because I have a few and I want to try to get in as many as we
Okay.
can, right? And you look, Vicky and I, you can tell we girlfriends. So I can talk to her for the next 8 hours. So I'm trying to stay focused. Okay. So the crux of this question is I'm a horrible goal and vision builder. I see the end, but can't do the steps to get there. What would you give her any insight of the maybe from those 5 steps?
Get an accountability partner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Get somebody that's not a yes person, but somebody who's going to call you and say, what have you done today
Mm-hmm.
toward your
Mm-hmm.
vision? Or when will you have A, B, and C done? I'll check in with you in a week to see where you are, and give them permission to hold you accountable, even if it makes you upset,
Yep.
because there is no growth in the comfort zone. I heard Stedman Graham say this. There is no growth in the comfort zone, and there is no comfort in the growth zone. So either
Mm,
you want it or you don't. And the beautiful thing is, I said in my bio, we always live at choice. You don't
yeah.
have to do it. You
And
can you can settle where you are and live
girl,
out the rest of your days as you are right now. You
so
don't have to
good.
do anything. But if
So
you
good.
want
Listen,
to have more, you can.
I'm putting her website up because there's so many questions. I don't even think we have enough time to adequately get at them. Listen, Dr. Vicki has a daily, right? Daily radio show,
Yes.
right? So go to her website, VikkiJohnson.com. Again, it's Vicki with 2 K's and I, VikkiJohnson.com. You see it there at the bottom of the screen. Go, was it the top of your website? They
It's
can,
right at the top. As soon as it opens, just click that link and it's going to take you to SoundCloud, and you'll see the Soul Wealth Radio Show. I'm pushing 200 episodes, and I'm
mm,
really, really grateful, because I'm really serious and I'm committed to my assignment, which is to flood the earth with soul wealth. And my show airs every single day.
every single day. So don't miss it. Don't miss, because let me say something to you. Dr. Vicki's not somebody that just talks. She's somebody that is a living, breathing example of what it looks like when you live in so well. Number one. Number two, she could care less. And I think I could say this. She could care less if you're motivated or inspired. If you don't activate anything from what she walks you through, because what's the point in spending 20 minutes, 30 minutes listening if you do nothing with it? So those of you
Mhm.
that are saying, I'm tired of living in status quo, I want to live in my abundantly above all, I want to go after the wealth of my soul, then y'all better listen to this radio show. Follow Dr. Vicki. She's on every platform. You can find her on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. But mostly, here's the thing that I really value about you, Dr. Vicki, is that you're always willing to go into your own next level. Like you don't ever settle for where you are. You're always going after what's next for you. And so thank you for all that you are and all that you do. Anything, and believe it or not, girls, the episode's just about over. I'm like, Lord, that went fast. Anything you want to say in closing?
Yeah, I just want to offer to those who are watching and joining us today, and this is how I close my radio show every day. Go, soul wealth is your birthright. It is your inheritance. So go out into the world, right? Live on purpose, live with passion, live with intention. And the last two things I say are live full so you can die empty.
Ooh, live full so you can die empty. Girl, look, drop the mic. Enough said. I don't even have nothing to say after that. So again, thank you for all you are and all you do. I appreciate you, girl.
Love you.
Love you too. So, as always, every single Thursday, I am here. You heard all the nuggets Dr. Vicki dropped. So, those of you that I see comments, people saying, I want to be her friend and I want more information, go to her website. Everything is there. Let me put it on the screen one more time. Or it's actually VikkiJohnson.com. Go and grab the insight. Now, listen, I'm here with you every single Thursday to give you insight and tools. So there's a couple things that you can do to get tools outside of Thursday. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me at N Roberts Jones. I'm always dropping nuggets and insight. And by the way, I do Clubhouse daily now every morning, and you'll see my link to our Clubhouse for tomorrow morning there in my bio. In addition to that, if there's a topic you want us to cover here on Bankroll Your Brains Thursdays, send me an email. Send our team at Black Doctor, an email and tell us what you want to talk about. What questions do you have? What insight do you need? And ultimately, my goal in everything I do is that you live as the highest and best version of who God created you to be. So, with that said, thank you for joining us for another episode. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you next Thursday for another episode of Bankroll Your Brilliance Thursdays. Bye, y'all.